We are back with the TMB podcast. I'm Abdullah, and joining me today are my two co-hosts of this podcast, Hafiz and Ashraf.
Hi, Abdullah.
Hello, how are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Alhamdulillah.
So, Alhamdulillah. Before jumping into the topic, Hafiz,
Yes.
where are we right now?
Right now we are in a corner. We are lepaking together. Hey, there's a bottle there.
You can't see the bottle.
Yeah, you can't see the bottle, but there's a bottle there. Okay, but anyway, we're in our new studio, which is actually just my bedroom.
Wow, it looks so new and fresh.
Yeah, it's because my bed used to be here and I disassembled it.
Are you going to do something else with the walls? It looks fine now.
Yep, I'm probably gonna paint my walls because the walls have been this color for about 10 years or so. Yeah, so you can see like white is showing through.
Maybe it's powder.
I don't know. Maybe it's fading off, but I'm just gonna repaint it. Yep.
So anyways, so what are we talking about today?
I don't know, Ashraf. You're
So
supposed to come with the
Today
topic.
we'll be talking about the true self. So the questions that we're trying to answer is that, is there a true self in anyone? And that is something that my good friend Hafiz has taken the time to curate responses and ideas and theories about it. So Hafiz, why don't you take the lead and introduce us to some philosophers or social scientists or psychologists who have explored this topic before?
Okay, before we jump into that, right? Maybe we want to talk about how we view ourselves personally. Yeah.
Okay.
Abdullah, how do you view yourself as a person or as yourself?
How we came up with this topic was because I had a conversation with my friend, and my friend told me that I acted like differently when I was alone, like alone with someone else lah, not like
Okay,
alone.
not like alone. How would they know if you were alone?
Exactly. Right? Yeah, so alone with someone else, as compared to when I'm with like my friends, like a big group of friends.
Okay,
So like a big group of friends lah.
like three's a crowd.
That's right. At the
Yeah.
ice cream
These are
place.
yes.
Yeah, maybe with TMB.
Yep.
So like, I think I'm more, I don't know, crude with friends or something. Like if like our friend Zaki is here, then maybe I'll be a little bit more
Unfiltered.
a little bit more unfiltered and not so nice.
All right.
Yeah, but that made me question like who my real self is.
I thought you were gonna say who my real friends are. Who your real self is?
Yeah, who my
right?
real self is. But
Okay.
but to me, like with different groups of friends, obviously we act differently, right?
Yep.
Like with your family, you act differently. When
correct.
you with like people you're not so close with, you also maybe act nicer or something.
Yep.
Yeah, but I think to me it's just that I'm adaptable, or it's just natural, like for everyone to have different selves around different people. Yeah, and also because I don't trust people easily, so like
Alright.
I don't just reveal myself that easily. Yeah,
Okay, understand.
understood.
how
I
about
think, I
you?
think what you're trying to say is that in every group there's a different dynamic, and you try to fit in as best you can into a different dynamic so that the whole group as a whole can function.
Sure.
Is that what you're trying to say?
I guess so. I don't know.
Okay, let's
Sure,
cut it
dude.
out. Let's cut that part out.
No, I'm including it. Yeah. So Ashraf, what do you think about this? What do you think about what I said? I guess.
As in about what do you think about whether there's a true self for yourself?
Yes.
I think that I agree quite a lot with you, because also anecdotally I find myself in the same situation as you. Like, you know, with different people you behave differently. You know, like there's for example with secondary school friends who I have no longer, I can be more relaxed, I can be more casual, I can even insult them is a form of endearment.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Like
Hold
they know that it's a form of endearment, right? Like, you don't
Sure.
Yeah.
mean it
Sure.
seriously. But then with people who you know less, maybe acquaintances, especially people you go to the mosque and you see people at the masjid, right? You try to be civil, respectful, decent.
If you started swearing at the people at the masjid, that'd be.
You try not
be
to crack
awkward,
too many
right?
jokes, you know, like you don't know what might trigger them or anything. Like,
Right.
okay, you try to be more, how to say, palatable.
Palatable.
So,
Okay, that's a good
quick
one.
question. So that's not the real you if you are nice to people.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you have to be extra cautious when you interact with these
Yes,
people.
yeah. Okay, that's what I meant. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And Hafiz?
Now I have to talk about myself.
Yes, you have to talk about yourself.
All right. Okay. I think the perception of myself that I have, that people have of me, is that I find that people don't really like being around me, but that might just be what I think. But I'm somebody who's comfortable with being silent around others, and I find that a lot of people are not comfortable being silent. So like if let's say I'm with a person I just met, right? I'm okay with just being quiet and not having to talk. But then they often feel the need to interact. So most of the time, right, they will just go find someone else that they can interact with. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have experienced this.
I guess it's more of an introvert kind of thing.
Yes, I think so too.
Maybe. I mean, I'm an introvert, and you're probably an introvert as well, right?
Nice, you got it right.
Yeah,
Good job.
Ashraf is
Introvert as well.
introvert.
Really? Okay. I would have guessed wrong. Yes,
Yeah, I would have guessed extrovert.
Maybe
but-
if you're Sam or Danish, you would have answered differently.
We are not
Yeah.
those friends
Right.
who the listeners don't know who they are. Anyways, so you're talking about what other people think of you, right?
Yeah.
As quiet.
Yes.
Okay, so what do they actually think of you? I'm
Oh,
pretty
okay.
scared.
Right.
Hold up.
Right.
Like I don't think all your friends think you're quiet. I don't think you're quiet.
Okay.
So-
yeah. Because because you've known me for how many years?
Half our lives.
10 years? Is it?
Let me see,
No,
2007.
27, so like half our lives.
14 years lah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Half our lives.
Oh yeah. 14 years.
Yeah, 14 years.
Since
lah.
sec
Oh
one.
my.
Yeah, okay. So maybe it has to do with the fact that back in school, right, I had a negative reputation. So people who didn't know me, right, already have a negative impression of who I am as a person. But like the people who try to get to know me, right, they realize that, oh, this guy's not so bad. Yeah.
Okay.
I won't go into why they have a negative
Yeah,
impression
yeah.
of me, but yeah.
Okay. Maybe I wasn't around when they had a negative impression of you, but I guess in secondary school everyone was quite cool with each other, right?
Yeah.
So especially when we are in a boys' school, then there's not much to hide or something. Like you can just be yourself, sort of, right?
Yeah, actually, in secondary school, I never really thought about me as a person, like thinking about me as myself. I was just existing, you know. Like,
You're not as conscious about yourself as you are.
yeah, like
maybe when you were a
to,
little
to,
older.
to even question who is myself, right? It's a bit odd, isn't it?
I don't think we have the awareness to even comprehend like what is your true self at that age.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, but I guess people do have like thoughts about who you are. Like, if I recall properly,
Yeah.
like you were someone who played a lot of. You played soccer.
Everyone plays soccer.
But like you did,
Yes.
you played like Rubik's Cube that everyone played at one point in time, and
Yeah.
all the board games. So like I visited your class and you were playing
Oh,
on board
Chinese
games.
chess, yes.
Yes, Chinese chess.
Yeah, I only won 2 times in the hundreds of times I played.
You played another weird Chinese game where you didn't know the pieces like were, and some of them were like queen or bomb or soldier. Okay, never
What
mind.
was that?
I don't know what
Oh,
it is.
that jogged the memory, but
Like the one
Yeah.
that one can only move in a small square box, or like can only jump one box to another box. It's
What game is it?
The cannon or something. I can't remember. What
I don't know, but there's a judge and then there's 2 people and then someone has to check who the pieces are. Anyways, I thought you were that kind of person who like to try new things and like sort of like cool in my mind. Okay, as a
cool.
at that age, then
Right.
So there was I would say a positive impression of you last time, but I guess I don't know. You have other stories that you are not willing to share or
Right.
something.
No, like, I mean, in secondary school, I think I was that kind of person.
Yeah.
But like I said, I didn't think of myself as like an entity. Rather, just like, oh, I like to do this, I like to do that. Like, this is just preferences I like. But I didn't think of myself as what are my morals, what are my principles, which I think
correct.
you have to think about when you are trying to think about your authentic self. Yeah.
So, Ashraf, any thoughts about this? What do other people think of you? Or do you not have an entity also?
To be honest, I have no opinion or no idea of what other people think of me. Like nobody has ever told me like, okay, I think you're like this or I think you're like that. Like nobody comes and tells you like, okay, this is exactly what I think of you. Like so, you in the end, you're trying your best to fit in to a place where you think you can fit in. So I don't really know what people think of me, and I don't think that has ever affected me in secondary school or JC or even university.
So I guess at a younger age, we would have this issue of like you are just trying to fit in and not thinking about who yourself is. But as we get older and mature, I guess like when we are more, we have to think about ourselves like individually, when you want to like apply for jobs and stuff, then you have to go for interviews and submit your resumes. Then you have to think about who we are, right?
Tell me about yourself.
Yeah, tell me about yourself. It's just like existential crisis, right?
Yes.
So I guess that's why we are forced to think of whether we do have an authentic self and whether we are like lying to interviewers or to friends or to people we are like meeting, in person. Yeah, I don't have any clue of who I am. So in JC, actually, people think I had a very Tao face, I think. You know what Tao face is? Like, very...
RBF,
Yeah.
RBF.
resting beach face.
Does RBF apply for guys?
I don't know.
I think that's like a default face
Okay.
for most people, right?
I think
No lah,
like
some people are
if I'm
friendly.
talking to you, then you'll be like animated, right? But
okay. I think he means in the sense that he's unapproachable.
Yes, exactly that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which I think it became like I went to uni and also it was a consistent thing. So I guess that's what people think of me. Yeah, but other than that, not really. Like let's say in smaller groups of let's say in NS and stuff, like in my SCDF vocation, people just like to make fun of my bass voice.
Oh, nice.
And my voice very low or something.
Right.
Yeah, but
Why is that something to make fun of, though?
I don't know, they're very mean.
I thought bass voices are more attractive.
Yeah.
They're all guys.
No, then,
Okay, I
then
get
you
it.
should be manlier. What? They'll be like, whoa,
Right,
this
right.
guy is like the alpha. Alpha 2, 3, 1. Turn out.
Yeah. So
Sorry, that was
Yeah, I'm not-
SCDF.
I'm just not sure what people think of me. Like maybe some people think I'm nice, but then when they actually get to know me, then I'm actually not so nice.
Right.
And then people who actually know me then think like, okay lah, it's just a normal, like this is just me.
Yeah.
And then who knows myself,
Yes.
it's like I'm very mean. No lah, I don't care if people hate me or whatever.
Okay, but to be fair, I think everyone is critical of themselves. So how you think of yourself is generally more negative than how you actually are. So like if how you are is this baseline, right? How you think of yourself is like this. How other people will think of you is like this.
Oh.
So you need to have like the amalgamation.
Okay,
of
so
both.
for the listeners on Spotify, what is like this, like this, and like this?
sorry, okay.
This is great
So
audio content.
imagine the x-axis, right? So at 0, this is, let's say, who you are as a person. But how you think of yourself would be like maybe x equals to -1.
Oh.
Yeah. Then how people think of you is x equals to 1. So it's above the baseline. So you have to find that x equal to 0 to know who you are.
Oh my. So
Yeah.
the person that we know ourselves. Wait, the person.
So
me
how-
that knows
how-
me
yeah.
is
How
actually a
is-
negative version of me.
Yes.
Oh,
Because we tend to
no.
focus on our bad rather than our good.
Okay, but I don't think being mean to people. Oh wait. Sorry, okay, let's not. Yes, you are correct.
And like if you say you are mean to others when you're alone, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't have an impact on other people.
True.
So even if you are like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong per se because you are not hurting or harming anyone else.
Sure. So let's move on with our next section. I just thought about this question. What are some names that people call you as you, like, throughout your life? Because I'm sure that at different points in your life or when you meet different people call you different names. I mean, like, not bad names, like just names.
Right, names, yeah.
So, Hafiz, what about you?
When I was in primary school and maybe even in kindergarten, people would call me Hafiz.
Oh.
Yeah, and I don't know why they found it so entertaining. Like to me, after the first time, I was like, okay, it's not even close to Hafiz. It's like Hafiz. Yeah. Then when I moved on to when I was working at IKEA, right? There were so many of my Chinese colleagues could not pronounce my name, so they would call me Hazif, Hazik, Hafi, Hafik. So everything except Hafiz.
Okay, honestly, it's not that they cannot pronounce because
Yeah.
they can pronounce the Z and the F, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they don't remember your name.
Yeah, okay, but then I'm walking around with my name tag right on my chest. You can just look, like when I don't know someone's name, right? I just look at their name tag and I say, oh, hello, so and so.
How is Hazik anywhere close to Hafiz?
That's why. Then the thing is, right, there was this guy working in the next department to mine. His name was Hazik. So people will call him Hafiz, then they will call me Hazik. And after a while, I just responded to Hazik because I know they were trying to like call me.
Okay, is there any other names that people call you? I guess because your name is just Hafiz, right?
Yeah, it's not a long name, so you can't really abbreviate it to anything.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Call you Hafiz Bar.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's quite a number of people call me Hafiz Bar. That's my Instagram name. So you can follow me at HFZBAR. I post occasionally.
Yeah, I saw your recent post of all your shots. It's very nice.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, but that's because Hafiz is also a common name. So sometimes you need a way to distinguish, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess also in last time in our school in VS, there's a lot of Hafiz.
There was so many Hafizes.
Hafiz like
Yeah,
different
of course.
types. So we have to call them by either their their father's name, their surname, or like whatever additional changes, the additional words to their name. We have to call them.
Yeah.
And also applies for Ashraf Ali. Wait, is there a lot of Ashraf Alis?
No, I think I was the only one in VS.
Okay, you're unique lah. I had another Abdullah, so like I couldn't.
Right. Have you ever met other like Ashrafs, or have you been in situations where you needed to be defined as one Ashraf as opposed to the other?
Yes, in NS there was another Ashraf also because I was in the training department of SOC. So there was another Ashraf also in another different department, also in the training wing. So there were two Ashrafs there. So like people, the regulars especially, you know, the older NCHs a bit middle aged already. So they like can't remember so many names. So like when they to differentiate us, right? They call us Ashraf White, Ashraf Black.
Wait, so which one are you?
I'm the darker one.
Oh no.
Because the other Ashraf is like a bit fairer skin.
Okay.
But like, so I mean, most of the time nobody use that nickname because most of the NSFs they know who they are calling to. But sometimes the regular, like, you know, they want to mess around with people like, hey, Ashraf White come here, or Ashraf Black, can you come here or not?
Oh, that's your name tag say.
Ashraf.
Ali.
Ashraf Black.
Ashraf Black. No, imagine my surname Ashraf Baji, Ashraf B, Ashraf Black.
Oh,
No,
is it
no.
Ashraf B?
No,
it's
it's just
Ashraf.
Ashraf.
It's just Ashraf.
Yeah. So anyway, nicknames. I have had a few nicknames growing up. Primary school, I can't remember if I had any nicknames or not. People just call me Ashraf. Then in secondary school, there was one AQB, which is
I call you that.
a complete abbreviation of my
Of your
full name. Yeah.
I call you that.
Yeah. And some people call me Ash also.
Oh.
Even shorter form of my actual first name, Ashraf.
Do you put that in
Sam
your
calls
Tinder
you
profile?
that, right?
Huh?
Sam calls you Ash.
Sam's call me Ash. Yeah, he does. Because I don't know why. What's wrong with saying two syllables? Then
Ashraf Ash. Ash sounds cool. We call him Sam.
yeah.
What? Sam.
Sam. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then after that, people also, I think throughout from secondary school onwards, they just sometimes refer to me as Baji, which is my surname. Like, especially in uni, like, hey Baji, you got this or not? Hey Baji, you coming or not? Like, hey Baji, you coming for his lecture or not? Like,
Quite cool,
this
right?
kind of thing.
I mean, it's fun to say the name. But
Yeah, like-
maybe it's a bit odd because we don't really call you Baji.
Maybe it's like a very Americanized, like westernized,
Yeah.
like call you by surname, like Baji.
Like even in
Mr.
text,
Baji.
they refer to me as Baji. Hey Baji, you coming for this or not? Like this kind of thing.
Right.
Quite cool, what? Don't you think so?
I mean, I'm fine with it.
So if you introduce yourself now, let's say to, like professionally,
Yeah.
will you call yourself?
Baji.
Hi, my name is Mr. Ashraf.
Yes, my name is Mr. Ashraf. I wouldn't want to refer to. I mean, when you introduce yourself to someone, you would tell them your first name, right?
Like you go for a conference, then you have to put like your name and your surname, right?
Yeah.
Ashraf Baji.
I think at a conference, people don't really care. So most people will just refer to themselves as in their surname. Like it's a more formal thing, you know. Like formally, you will refer to someone in their surname rather than their first name. First name is like when you know somebody more intimately, or when you more than just an acquaintance.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Has anyone called you Achap before?
No.
No, that's a very common abbreviation for your name, Ashraf.
Really?
Yeah. Last night I learned that some people call Shafiq Chapik.
Chapik.
Yeah, Capik.
What is that?
It's like a what do you call it? What kind of name is it?
It's like a kampong name.
Like it's like a kampong name. So like Hafiz, right? Some people call Apiz.
Apis.
Yeah. Then like Abdullah,
Dol.
Yeah, they just call Dol.
So my name in SCDF is Dol. Sergeant Dol.
Sergeant Dol.
That's right.
Sergeant Dola.
Like the police and thief.
Sergeant Dola.
Yeah, but actually Dol is like people call random people like you want to call that random guy and you say hey, Dol.
Dol. Yeah.
But Dol doesn't actually mean.
Or like G.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they are older, you call them a G.
If you know they went for Haji, maybe they didn't
Yeah.
go. Then how?
Yeah. Then inshallah they will go in the future.
It's It's kind of an inshallah.
Yeah, it's like a prayer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So can you call me like Switzerland and Sweden so that I can go?
Sweet.
Hafiz Sui.
Hafiz Sui.
Yeah, so for me, people call me Dole or Sanjan Dole in SCDF, but that's only within, so every year during reservist, my name comes up. If not, people call me, I ask people to call me Dula, then people go and change it to Dulu. And then in NS, when my name was like Afandi, then people call me that, but then that's only for like 2 weeks.
Right.
And Malay teachers like to call me Afandi, I don't know why. So all my VS teachers, all Afandi.
Maybe you think that Abdullah is like a something like Muhammad, like you don't say this is like your prefix, like your actual names are the one after that.
It's a nice name. Yeah, so I like my name Abdullah. And then if you're Arab, then you call me like Abdullah.
Abdullah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then when I told a story about how my ancestors were Bugis and Bugis were pirates, then my name became Monkey D. Ula.
Hey, that's a cool name actually.
Monkey D.
Yeah, so let's move on to the next section, and we're gonna bring in the identity theories.
Oh,
so
man, that's the boring part.
yeah, I think we're not gonna delve too deep into it, but since Hafiz, you have some background in it, and I think it kind of applies to our question of whether we have an authentic self.
Okay, so let me start with this saying that I found online when I googled it. Okay, so the Japanese say you have 3 faces. The first face you show to the world. The second face you show to your close friends and family. The third face you never show anyone. The truest reflection of who you are. Yeah, so have you guys heard this saying before?
Yes, I've heard of it before.
Yeah, I've heard of it in Japanese.
In Japanese?
No,
Okay.
no.
Yeah, so it is a Japanese saying, as you can tell by the first part, which is the Japanese saying, but it's an uncredited saying, and a lot of people take inspiration from this to come to the conclusion that when you are alone, right, that's the truest self that you have. Yeah. So before we dive in, right, we have to talk about what the self actually is.
Okay.
So from our previous discussion, we've talked about how the self is who we think we are, how other people think we are, and how we think other people think we are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So actually, this kind of concept of self, right, has already been theorized by an American sociologist by the name of George Herbert Mead.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I didn't really study him in my undergrad, so I had to Google.
Oh, you didn't study him?
Yeah, I didn't. Surprisingly, right?
Actually,
But
I've
you studied him before.
yeah, studied him like maybe one lesson.
Right.
Maybe more.
But it was about the self, right? Like his theories.
It's an identity theory. Yeah.
Identity theory. Okay, cool. Okay, so I just ran through really quickly. So he believed that to understand the self, right, you have to understand 3 parts, which is the I, the me, and the generalized other. So the I represents how you see yourself, and this is subjective. So as I said just now, you often see yourself as more negative than you actually are. Then the second part is the me, which is how others see you. So this, he says, is more objective. So how I see Abdullah or how I see Ashraf, right, is more objective because how I look at you is not tinted by a negative bias which you have for yourself.
Yeah, I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then the last one is the generalized other, which is how society sees you. So society as a whole. For example, let's say I'm a young Malay adult, right? When someone sees me sees me as Malay, right? They already have this kind of preconceived notions about what kind of person I am. So be it negative or positive, these are usually stereotypes, but this is how the generalized other sees us.
Okay.
Yeah. So and how we see ourselves as a whole, complete self, right, is an amalgamation of these 3 parts.
An amalgamation, a combination. It is
Big words.
Yes, very big words. So
Yes.
if I were to just reiterate the point, so the I is subjective, the me is objective, and the generalized other is more of like a statistical thing.
Yeah.
Like it's
a
literally like
stereotype.
if you put yourself into data, that's what you are.
Yes.
Men
And women.
and women.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, that was like come on, like man.
Right.
Okay, so Ashraf, do you have any thoughts about this?
I think it has been explained quite fully already in
Right.
itself. Yeah.
I think
There's
this
nothing.
is-
There's nothing much I can add on to this. It's just like
Yeah.
it's just a factual thing. Like this is a
factual.
okay, not a factual thing. It's a researched theory
theory,
that this
An
this
opinion.
this George Herbert Mead has proposed.
Made.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I quite like this. I quite agree with this. To this theory. Because I guess I feel like it's very simple, right? It's simple to understand, and
Yep.
you kind of relate to it. It is true that you cannot yourself cannot just be what you think, because what other people think also like defines you. Yeah.
Right. And also, as a baby, right, you don't have a concept of the self. So how you develop yourself, right, is through socialization and social interaction with others. So the self that you are now, right, is a result of all the people you've interacted with and all the different cultures and practices that you've encountered and you've chosen to adopt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's move on to the second guy.
Yeah. All right. So there's another guy who theorized about the self, and his name is Erving Goffman. He's a Canadian sociologist, and his most famous work is on dramaturgical analysis. Yeah, first introduced in his book, The Presentation of Self in Everyday Life.
Wow. So
Yeah.
dramaturgical is not like dermalogical.
No, that's dermatological.
Or
Eh,
dermatological. My bad. Big words. Big words.
Yeah, but have you studied Goffman before as well?
Yeah, so for Goffman, the theory that we learn is like role playing. So we have roles that we are assigned to by society,
Right.
and then our identity is influenced by that and how we play into those roles.
Okay.
So what is it actually?
I mean that's it lah. At the base of it,
Oh,
it's
I got him.
basically all the world's a stage, and all the men and women are merely actors, which is that Shakespearean
Quote.
quote. It's a bit longer, but yeah. So
Summarized.
sorry. So he theorized that everyday life, right, is basically like being on a stage where you have multiple roles that you put on in front of others. Yeah. So this is juxtaposed with the on stage is juxtaposed with the off stage, or rather backstage, where you are out of your character, you are not in front of anyone, where you can finally like let down your mask or your performance. So he came up with this to bring forth the idea that ourselves, right, depend on the context that we are in. Yeah. So previously, Mead said that yourself is the combination of the different ways of seeing yourself, right?
Yeah.
But Goffman is trying to say that yourself changes with the context, which is what Ashraf and you were also saying at the start of the podcast, right? Yeah.
But I would not agree with Goffman more though. I feel like okay, he has a point, but your true self wouldn't be those roles that you play, right? Because if you're playing a role, instead of putting up like a front, a show,
A facade.
yeah, a facade, I
A
guess,
play.
like a front. Yeah, so like you would have to like, because there's a role you have to play, then you'll play into the role, like you will adjust yourself, your actual true self to fit that role to play properly. But then because it only happens like because you're playing that role, like it's not really you. You're like forced to play.
Yeah, so it's not a reflection of your true self. Yeah.
So I would say like if you're in those kind of situations, then you're not really portraying your true self. So I guess Goffman is saying that even though you think that, but that's actually yourself.
No, so if you even if you extrapolate that idea, right, like
Yeah.
you are playing a role, so does that mean that you have no true self and you're always playing a certain role?
Oh
to
no,
fit a
please no! I want to self.
Okay, just a spoiler. Goffman doesn't believe that there's a true self. So even the backstage, right,
so that makes sense.
isn't specifically a true self.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess that makes sense.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So Ashraf, you like Goffman more?
I think I agree with the Meads more.
Yeah. Right.
I think Goffman, I don't think that there is no true self. There is definitely a true self. Like
Okay.
a true self that I'm sure that everybody deep down they know what is their true self. Like, okay, when you're alone, when you're with your thoughts, when you're just spending time by yourself, you know.
With your thoughts. Sorry.
I mean, when you're just unwinding on your own, you tend to know like, okay, what type of things you prefer, what type of things you like, and you should know some sense of who you are, right? You cannot be like, oh shit, I am completely unaware of who I am.
Yeah.
Are you sure? Like maybe you like pink, but then you say you like blue because it's
Isn't
more
that then,
manly.
isn't that then putting on a facade again?
Yeah.
So even if let's say I like pink, I would
Yeah.
know that I like pink. Right? So,
So
that
that's
means
your
I
true
know a
self.
true self of myself, which contradicts with what the Goffman says.
But are you sure you're not influenced by society? Like maybe you like yellow, but then yellow is like too bright and too ugly.
Okay,
Like,
but
too many people don't
I
like
think
it.
what he's getting at is like at the core of it, right?
Yes.
When you are not actively being influenced by external
Yeah, you do have-
factors.
yeah.
That's your true self.
Correct,
Yes.
correct.
Yeah.
But we are always constantly being exposed.
So are we putting on a facade now?
Yes,
Maybe.
definitely.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. Yes, definitely. Change my answer.
I mean, okay, there's the one layer where we are in front of our friends. Then there's the other layer where we are doing a podcast where other people will listen to us. Obviously, this is a facade. I mean,
no, we're being authentic right
yeah,
now.
being
guys.
authentic.
This
Sorry,
is-
yeah.
Thank you for
This is the real me
Yeah,
now. Yeah.
I'm always like this. I'm always talking to a microphone in front of people.
Yeah. Yeah, so actually when you talk about whether there's a self or not, there's so many other different identity theories. Even one that says there's a not self. There's like a more influenced by Buddhism, that there's a not self. But let's not delve into that.
Not
But if
self.
you're interested in more identity theories, you can read them up. But it is definitely hard to grasp, hard to understand, and you might have an existential crisis.
Maybe it's all esoteric and we're not supposed to understand it.
Big words, big words.
Yeah, but it's best if you discuss this with other people because just by thinking about it on your own, right, it's very hard to look at it from different perspectives.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So like personally, I feel like there's no true self.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I know you guys believe, I know Ashraf believes that you can have a true self, right?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
But for me, I don't think there's a true self in a sense of like a, what's the word called? Like a, I don't have the word
A
for it.
whole self.
Not really a whole self, but rather like
Congruent self.
like the real self. Like for me, right, I subscribe to Goffman's idea of the different facades, but
Uh-huh.
I don't think that the facades are fake or not true of yourself. So how I think about it is like, let's say you have playdough or plasticine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can shape it into different shapes to suit your different needs.
Uh-huh.
But then after you are done, right, what is the shape that it becomes at the end of the day? Yeah, there's no true play-doh.
So you're saying that you're malleable. Your personality, yourself itself is malleable.
Yeah.
You can adapt to different situations and different roles
Yes,
as per the
yes,
situation.
yes. So
requires.
even when you're alone, right,
Yeah.
that is the same self as when you are in front of others, just that it's a different shape of the self. Yeah. So how do I put this?
I think I get your point. But
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I agree with it. Yeah.
I get, yeah,
then fight lah.
definitely. But it's a very interesting analogy using Play-Doh. Because essentially, but do you know what's the best Play-Doh shape you are?
I don't
No,
know.
you're just
The
Play-Doh.
one you come in the container. That
Oh,
like that
sorry.
round
That,
cylinder.
that long bar.
The long bar. That's not Play-Doh. That is plasticine.
Plasticine, oh my God.
Oh my god, this boy. Yeah. So I think for me, as you said, you can roll into different shapes, but in the end, you're still that one Play-Doh, right? I
Yeah.
feel like for me, there's a self, and I know the best, like I'm the sort of the best person who knows that self. Like even though other people have other conceptions of myself, but the best person who knows it is probably G.O.D.
All right.
God.
got it. Sorry, it took me a while.
Yeah, it took me a while. It's like, who's this person? G.O.D. Like,
Yeah.
is it a new person?
Was it capital G?
I mean,
Was it capital A?
yeah.
For
So
Abdullah? No.
I think maybe it's just down to I wouldn't say semantics, but rather how you think of what the true self means.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So if you were to break it down, right, instead of just using true self, you have like specific names for like when you are alone, like your alone self, and also the yourself as a whole essence. I think that's what we are getting at. So for me, the true self is the self as a whole, but for Ashraf, maybe it's the self when you are alone. Yeah.
Actually, so I have something to add about Hafiz's earlier point. You know, when you mentioned that you are like a playdough and you are malleable to fit any situation that requires you of it.
Yes.
So I think that there is actually a true self, not just when I'm alone or something. Like my true self, I think, is dictated by the morals that I subscribe to, the values that I try to embody.
Okay.
So like you know, when even in like any given scenario, like when I went for job interviews, like they give you a scenario analysis to test your train of thought and your logic, and then so nobody will answer the same question in an exact congruent manner, right? So everybody has their own processes of thinking and is always guided by their sense of values and morals that they adhere to. So in that sense, that's your true self, but
Okay.
in some way, like I don't think that any two people will have the exact same set of values and morals that they subscribe to. So in that sense, that is your true self in guiding your character and your actions.
Okay.
But if you're in an interview, aren't you playing a role of trying to get the job? So you put up the best self.
Yeah, but he's saying that his underlying morals is still the same. Is there? So if I bring back the Play-Doh analogy, right?
Yeah.
It's basically the ingredients that make up the Play-Doh. So you can have maybe a green and a red Play-Doh, and you can make them the same shape, right? But essentially they are different colors because their makeups are different, even though they are, let's say, playing the same role.
Okay. So essentially, there's some like a basis you have to build upon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think in that regard, right, we actually agree what our true self is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, shake hands. Okay, wash hands ready just now?
Yes.
Okay, good.
You should have asked that before you shake hands.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Okay. So we are moving on to the last portion. I hope this podcast has been good for all listeners. So let's have an exercise for all the listeners to better know more about yourself. Let's try to do 3 things, which is the first one is to list down what you think of yourself, what defines you. And then secondly, ask the people around you, like your family, your friends, your colleagues, what they think of you. And maybe thirdly, maybe work on the checklist of things you want to work on to sort of understand yourself better. Yes, because I think this will be very valuable in things like podcasts and like interviews or like your resume or whatever. Because people do want to know more about yourself because it helps when you want to work together with people and stuff like that.
And it's also good to periodically check in to see whether you are moving towards the direction that you want to be headed in terms of your personal development.
We want to be better versions of ourselves every day.
So maybe ask your parents to be brutally honest about what they think of you.
I think
I
parents...
hate you, son.
It's like you're a colossal disappointment.
Yeah.
Why are you even born?
I never wanted
I should
you.
have aborted.
Asians.
I don't care how kind or how generous you are. I don't want you.
It's like, just get out of my house.
Okay, this took a weird turn.
Whoa.
Right. Okay.
All right.
So do you wanna end it off?
Yeah, so thank you for listening in. I hope that you enjoyed the podcast. And this is Abdullah.
Oh
Hafiz.
wait. I have a point.
Oh, what is your point?
Okay, sorry. Okay, so if you are listening to this episode, right, this is probably gonna be the 7th episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I keep hearing on other podcasts and like reading out online, right, that if your podcast reaches episode 7, right, it's more likely to continue long term.
Oh,
Yeah.
I am excited.
So most podcasts will sort of die off, or they call it pod feed, by the 7th episode. Yeah. So
Okay.
hopefully we can reach the next milestone, which is like 20 episodes.
Oh, okay. So next milestone, 20 episodes. We are on our 7th episode,
Yeah.
and I have a good feeling about this.
Yes,
Yeah,
we are already
yes.
35% of the way there.
Okay. So, anyways, if you didn't already know, the 3 of us are the main guys behind the podcast, and we are trying our best to keep on improving and making this a worthwhile venture. So we have reached the 7th episode. Next is 20 episodes, and we do like doing something new. So I hope that this will be good, and we appreciate the feedback that we are getting outside,
Yep.
and hopefully our episodes get better each week.
Hopefully. And also if you want to appear on the podcast, just approach any of us.
Yeah, just drop us a message,
Yep.
DM us.
Exactly. Don't be shy.
All right. So thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
Bye.
Oh shit, I'm not in the frame that much.
Do you hear that? It's like a.
And I'm gonna beatbox.
What happened?